welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and I am a senior photographer based here in Richmond, Virginia. And this little YouTube channel is just my little corner of the social world where I like to share some helpful tips and tricks for your senior photography business, as well as a few life things because those are just fun to watch. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 of my favorite sitting poses to try at your next senior session. There are 10 million different ways you can do a standing pose, but when it comes to sitting poses, those can always be a little tricky, a little awkward. So I'm going to give you 10 ideas that you can try at your next session, and let's get into it. Okay, and secondly, before we jump in, please ignore these nails. If you look at these nails, jail time for you. Don't look at them. I also just want to say a quick thank you to everybody for being here, for subscribing to my channel, and showing me all the love and support that you guys do. And as a way to say thank you, I want to share my newest freebie with you that I have, and it's called Posing for Gen Z, which is perfect because today we're talking about posing, and this new guide has a few of my favorite new poses that I've started incorporating into my senior sessions that are fresh and full of movement and are just really unique and are a little bit different than your typical just like standard poses that you would do at a senior session. So that's linked right down in the description box below. Be sure to grab that. And I'm going to move this camera down and we're going to be on the floor for this video. So let's dive in. Alright, so welcome to my floor. I know this isn't probably the cutest background, but we're in a tight space, so we're working with it. Also, I'll let you know, I put on jeans and my smiley face slippers just for you guys. Just for you, because I love you. Alright, so the first pose that you probably already know, which we're gonna get the basic ones out of the way first, and then we'll jump into some more fun, creative floor poses. But the first one is just a simple crisscross applesauce. And what I like to do in this pose is have my girls rock back and forth, swinging the hair around. Let me demonstrate. So one tip for this pose too is that I like to turn my seniors a little bit angled from the camera instead of them being straight on. I do this too, but I also like to have them just slightly twisted to the side, and I'll do hands on the ankles, sitting up nice and tall, and then I'll have them rock back and forth. That just kind of gets them laughing, makes them feel a little silly. They can start swinging the hair. I know my hair is clipped up, but if they have long hair, this works really well. But just have them smiling at the camera, smiling around. And that's my crisscross applesauce pose. From the crisscross applesauce pose, I will move them straight into keeping one leg tucked under while the other one is bent up. And this one I'll do kind of straight on, or you can angle it to the side. But I always start off with a lean to the back, one arm over the knee. You can even bring this hand up to I kind of do like their temple. You could do chin. I like the temple, makes it a little more sassy. You can bring the elbow in. There's lots of ways you can mix this up. But this is my next pose that I like to do. You can angle in the arm. There's lots of ways. So this is just a simple one knee bent under, one knee bent up. So for this next pose, you'll want to have them turn parallel to the camera. Is that right? Parallel? Anyways, you'll want to have them turned side facing away from the camera, kind of to the side. And for this one, you just I like to leave up the front knee bent, the one that's closest to the camera, and both arms are going to be supporting them on the back, and they're just going to kick up a foot on this side. You can even do this elbows down, kick one foot up, throw the head back. You can even have them kick both feet in the air. This is just another fun one to get them laughing, some really natural smiles, and I think this one's super cute. Another way that I will do that pose is have them angled a little bit kind of like catty corner to the back, and then leaning back on their elbows and kicking up this way, looking over their shoulder. Yeah, you can mix it up. Play around with it, because every girl's going to be different. It's going to look different for every body type. So just play around with it. If your senior's really not feeling it, you can cut it out, but it's fun to try it. So this next pose is pretty similar. They're going to be to the side, and it's just leaving both knees bent up. You can do one bent down a little bit farther, the back leg bent up higher, and just tilting their head back, leaning back on those arms. And then from here, my next pose that I'll do is I'll have them bring their legs out just a little bit lower, and then have them either completely lean forward on their knees like this, just tucking in, or leaning forward on their knees, a little hand under the chin. And I always like to keep the front arm straight and the back arm is the one that's bent up to their chin. Or you could do their temple, or you could even throw a hand over the head, arm lean back. There's so many ways to play around with each base pose, from this is the base pose to just bringing the legs out, one bent up a little bit more. I never really do like a straight leg down. I like to keep it bent a little bit. Also, I know this sweatshirt is making me look way hunched over. I promise I'm not. Okay, so pose number 6 is actually one that's included in the Posing for Gen Z guide that I told you about earlier that's linked out in the description. And this is what I call the sassy squat. And it can be a little bit tricky. There's kind of a trick to doing the pose. So basically what your senior's gonna do, so have your senior start standing, her feet together, and then she's gonna squat all the way down with both of her knees kept bent up. So I'll show you, but I kind of obviously go out of the frame a little bit. So I feel like that pose actually works better when she's wearing heels, because you want to be set all the way down on your heels and not with your toe, or not kind of leaning forward on your toes with your heels off the ground. So it always kind of depends on the person, because it also, you kind of got to be a little flexible to do it. But you can always do a little variation of the pose, which would just be bringing one knee down, keeping the front knee up a little higher like this. So that's what I call the sassy squat. I typically do either both arms straight out, wrists kind of crossed over, and then I'll bring the back hand up, leaving that front arm crossed over like this. But imagine I'm sitting in a squat like this. Alright, so the next pose is also a pretty standard pose, and it's just a simple crooked sit. So here, I'll back up. Here's the crooked sit. You're just putting all your weight into one side, legs are tucked nicely up towards the body, and I'll normally just keep a hand on the thigh, or you can bring it up over the head, hand in the hair, playing with the hair, ah ha ha ha, laughing. That's the crooked sit. Now from here, the next pose, maybe you could consider this a laying down pose. I still consider it sitting, because you take this pose and instead of leaning on the hand, you lean on the elbow. Just bring the legs out a little bit, and then this hand comes over the head, up in the hair, ah ha ha. You can even have it just resting right on the hip. It's a little bit of a sassier pose, you could say. I really love this one. I think it's really pretty. One thing to keep in mind though is that this bottom foot, make sure they don't have it tucked all the way up under like this. Like this, because then it looks like she's missing a leg. So just keep the feet out together. Yeah. The reason I say that about the leg being not tucked all the way up under is because I had a senior do that in her pose. I didn't catch it in the moment. It was one of the first times I had done that pose, and I looked back at the photos and I was like, oh my, she looks like she lost a leg. This next pose, I know your senior's going to love it because it's what they do in all of their beach photos, I promise. I've seen it been done so many times on my seniors' Instagrams, just like their personal pictures that they're taking, and it's just sitting up on their knees. Okay, JK, I can't scoot back far enough to show you, so I'll put a little picture here of what it looks like, but basically just have them sit all the way up on their knees. I don't have them sit all the way back on their heels because that causes the thighs to squish up a little bit, and as someone who has always been insecure about her thighs, I know that's not flattering, and you just want to make sure that you're being aware of that for every girl, whether she's insecure about it or not. But I just think it's more flattering to be all the way up on the knees. You can do the hands in hair, rocking side to side, playing with the hair, even leaning forward a little bit is always super cute too. Okay, so pose number 10 is a little bit similar to that one, but you're gonna have your senior sit all the way down to the floor, both legs tucked under, sitting on her knees with just hands right out in front, a little shoulder up in the front, a little flirty, a little cutesy. Here's what it looks like. So be sure too that they're not sitting like this with their toes up. Have them sit all the way flat on their foot if they can, and then I just have them put their hands right out in front of their knees. I like to do the shoulder that's closest to the camera, give it a little pop to the front. It's a little cutesy, it's a little flirty. You can bring a hand up to the hair in the back, leaning forward, ah ha ha ha, laughing. And there you have it. So that's it for today's video. I hope that you really enjoyed it and I hope that this was helpful for you. I know that sitting poses can be a little tricky, but don't worry, I'm always here to help you out on any of the pose ideas that you need. I'm going to be sharing a few of these over on Instagram, so if there's any other ideas that you have, go comment them over there. If there's any other posing questions that you have, or if you guys like these type of videos of giving you different ideas and ways to put your seniors into these different poses, let me know. I love these videos. I think they're super helpful and I like making them too. Also, don't forget about that freebie down in the description. It is my free Posing for Gen Z guide and I think it's really cool and my seniors like it. So, I mean, it's free. You should just go grab it. Right down in the description box. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do that, and I will see y'all next week with another video. Bye!